What's up, guys? It's John, and today we start the ballistic testing. Now, before we get into it too much, I wanted to kind of toss out there some ideas that I have and some opinions that I have about ballistics testing. First things first, I do not agree that the FBI testing protocol is the be-all, end-all to ballistics tests. I think there are a lot of other factors that go into it that make a good round or a good bullet, and I don't think that the FBI protocol covers all of that. I've seen rounds that do extremely well in that testing protocol fail in other tests that, to me, seem more reasonable, and vice versa. So I'm going to kind of do a variety of things. I may not stick to a set protocol. I'm going to try different things with different kinds of ammunition based on what kind of ammo it is. Now, today's example is this right here. I'll get you a close-up. This is the 70 grain Hero round from Lehigh Defense. Now, what makes that special is that it is super, super light for caliber. Typically, you'll see 124, 115, and even 147 grain 9mm projectiles, and this is nearly half of the heaviest. Advertised velocity on this particular ammo is 1,650 feet per second. Yes, 1,650 feet per second out of a 4-inch barrel, and 1,450 feet per second out of a 3-inch barrel. Now, because I'm using a ported 9mm, my XD9 V10, I'm getting a little bit in between there. It's a 4-inch barrel, but it's got 10 holes in it, and that leads to a slight loss in velocity. I was coming in around 1,500 feet per second. I will put that on the side right here so you guys can see the averages. Now, I did compare it to some standard target ammo, which was the CCI Blazer aluminum case stuff, and here's an average for that right now, just so you guys can get an idea of the speeds that I'm getting with normal target ammo and then this particular Lehigh Defense round. Now, as you can see in this demonstration, recoil was pretty insignificant in comparison to heavier loads, and I chalk that up to it just being a light projectile and a ported gun. So without much further BS for me, why don't we delve into the actual test results? Our ballistics jail stand-in this week is wearing a wife beater and a baseball cap. Now, this is going to change from week to week based on the different kinds of ammo, what's going to be in front of the block. And this week we're going to call him Swaggy. Swaggy took a hit right in the chest. It actually cut right through the wife beater. Instead of just punching a hole, it cut it. So why don't we take a closer look at that and take a closer look at the ammunition as well, and then we'll take a look at the block. As you can see, it kind of cut a hole clear through the fabric of the wife beater, which is pretty interesting to see. I expected kind of a just a puncture, and instead there was a cut hole. So here's a closer look at the 9mm 70 grain Hero ammunition. That's high energy retaining ordnance from Lehigh Defense. And I think that that huge projectile cavity will lead to some incredible expansion. It will probably, because it's so light, not penetrate too far into the block, but we'll see how much energy it dumps into that block early on out of the XD9 V10. At $33 for a box of 20, this stuff is not cheap. However, it is there to protect your life, and I think such a thing is a worthy investment. Now, as you can see, these are all copper machined bullets. They do not mess around over there at Lehigh Defense. I'm going to be testing some of their other offerings in the future, and this is just the tip of the iceberg with their quality.
Sweet. Let's check this out.
First things first, let's take a look at that really interesting entrance wound. Essentially, it just cut a hole in there. I think that most normal projectiles just kind of rip a hole and it kind of fills back in. This is a clear cut hole. I find that very interesting. Let's move on to the other portions of the block. So as we come around to the side, You can see our permanent wound cavity starts at about 1.5 inches in, travels to about 4.5 inches or so until it starts to shrink back up, and you can see the rifling there in the block. I find this very, very interesting that it's only about 1.5 to 2 inches across, simply because this block nearly doubled in size when this thing entered it, as you could see in that slow-mo shot. Let's move on to the top of the block so you can see a little more clearly. Obviously, I'm new to this, so handling the block got it a little smudgy on the sides. Things will get better as we go on. So starting at the end of the block, you've got your permanent wound cavity there. As I rotate back, you can see the clear-cut hole in the beginning of the block. That starts to dissipate kind of around 5 inches. And slowly the bullet slows down, and you see a little bit of tumbling there right at the end. There's no evidence of it prior to that. So we're going to go ahead and cut this block open. The bullet penetrated to about 9.25 inches. So we'll go ahead, cut it open, see what happened, see if we can determine anything from the bullet, and then give our final thoughts. So there you can see the expanded projectile right next to the normal projectile. They both weigh identical, 69.9 grains, which is freaking impressive, and we'll get you some diameters here in a second. So I pulled out the calipers and measured, and I actually found something pretty interesting. Each one of those petals expanded across to 0.6595 on every single side. That kind of consistency is unheard of in most bullets. That's pretty impressive. So now comes the hard question. Is this a viable option for carry? And the long and short of it is, yes, for me it is. I think that massive energy dump in the beginning of the block is flat out impressive, and I will actually probably hold on to some of these and load them into my 9mm when I choose to carry that. Now, not everybody is going to agree, and I can certainly appreciate that. There is no be-all, end-all option when it comes to self-defense ammo, but the 9mm 70 grain hero rounds from Lehigh Defense are certainly something to think about. Alright guys, that is the end of our very first ballistics gel test. This one happened to be with the 9mm 70 grain hero round from Lehigh Defense. And while some of you may disagree with the point I'm about to make, I think it is a very good option for carry. It dumps an enormous amount of energy in a very, very short period of time. And because of that, I would actually consider carrying it. Again, I do not believe that the FBI protocol or any other protocol is the be-all, end-all. There is no exact option here. There is no exact answer as to what is the #1 best carry round, because there are so many different variables that go into these things. Another thing I'd like to add is that Ballistic Gel is going to offer up a 10% discount code for my viewers. The code is CHAOS, that's chaos, and I'll put that down in the description for those of you that want to go out and try your own tests. They've got a bunch of cool things, including the blocks and other products I'll be using from them in the near future. So definitely go check them out and let them know I sent you. Guys, if you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead, click that subscribe button to see more cool things just like this. Also, check out my Facebook page. There is another link in the description for that. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps me out a ton. Also, if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you get to come back and check out all the cool things that I have to share with you guys, just like this. Lots of cool things on the horizon. As always, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.